Hey, everybody. Thank you, all the panelists. Thank you for coming in, participating with this session. It's been amazing that we have moved into this space with Tales as it is in person, in addition to maintaining a virtual component. So, without a doubt, the global pandemic has affected all assets of life, heavily impacting those of us who are and were in the hospitality industry. During the pandemic, when I had a different role, I worked essentially every position with my team just to keep the doors open, not only in the work environment where the stresses of the pandemic felt, but also in the culture and the blatant public ways in which Black people in this country were and still are being treated. During the George Floyd protests and Black Lives Matter movement, more than 26 million people protested, making this movement the largest in US history. The veil of ignorance has been removed in a large way, and with more attention aiming towards equity and inclusion, it made me dive into what is going on in our world of the hospitality and food and beverage industry. Today, we will not only get a sense and perspective of the full scope of the experiences and challenges, but to acknowledge like the ways in which we can push the bar forward in support of these businesses, as well as the recognition and inclusion of the people who reflect the community and make the playing field more of a mere representation of what society and today's culture actually depicts. Today, I have with me a group of amazing panelists who will be contributing to the conversation, and I would love to get into introducing each one of them. To start off, I'll just introduce myself. I am Bacardi's Multicultural Brand Portfolio Ambassador for DC. My name is Tara Marshall, and I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and I've had over 12 years of experience in the industry, ranging from being on the floor, behind the bar, managing bars and events, as well as everything in between. I started my journey in Atlanta, and I'm here in DC, and I've been here for about 7 years now. First, I'd like to start with you, Tammy. I would just introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about who you are.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Tara, for giving me the floor. My name is Tamara Amore. I go by Tammy. I am the Senior Manager for Multicultural at Bacardi. I've been there just over a year, but I've been working on the Bacardi business and other capacities on the agency side for about the past 5 years. I'm originally from Houston, Texas. I'm H-Town, and then lived in New Orleans for a little bit and recently moved to the Winston-Salem area. So really excited to be here with these other esteemed panelists to talk to you guys today.
Thank you. And Sean?
Good. Is it afternoon? Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm in DC right now, so there are fire trucks and stuff in my background that you might hear from time to time. But nevertheless, we are here in this new virtual world that we live in. I'm Sean Townsend. I am a native of Charleston, South Carolina. This sounds like a Southern call. But I have been in DC for most of my life, with the exception of a few years early on. Most recently, I served as the director of the Mayor's Office of Nightlife and Culture in the Mayor Muriel Bowser's administration here in DC, where the office itself sort of serves as an intermediary on behalf of the mayor to the hospitality industry in general, businesses, residents, et cetera. So, grant opportunities and trying to help businesses navigate through the licensing, permitting, enforcement issues are some of the things that we've worked on. And since then, I've sort of gone down this path of both politics and hospitality. So we'll kind of get into that later, but I'm happy to be here to share thoughts and have a real thoughtful conversation. So thank you, Tara, and thank you, Bacardi, for hosting this event.
Thank you. And Miss Linda?
Hi, how's everyone? My name is Miss Linda. They call me the Yakami Lady. Born and raised in New Orleans, from Central City all my life. I became a street food vendor in the city of New Orleans. I'm a culture barrier. I'm one of I was the first person in New Orleans to win Chop Off the Food Network. I will be having a movie with Netflix coming out with street food in July. And I do a lot of work with different chefs in the city of New Orleans. It's just something that I love doing, trying to help my community and my city. I do a lot with my city, volunteers, feed the policemen, I do a lot of stuff.
And we definitely want to thank you for being here
Look,
too.
Excuse me, Lo. It's big, but I don't have to tell it like that. They know my work. How they say your work speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what your work do. It speaks for itself.
And I'm glad you're on the call too, because I mean you're native New Orleans.
Yeah.
You're from there, and you're a big staple in New Orleans. So appreciate you being on the call with us.
Well, I appreciate you all. I've been doing a lot of things with Tales of the Cocktails too. I've been doing a lot of, I do my Yakami with them for oh my God, about 7-8 years. Yeah.
Nice. And before we really get into it, I did want to thank Bacardi Ocho, which is the sponsor of this conversation for today. So thank you to Bacardi Ocho for making this happen for us. And I really wanted to start off with, Tammy, I wanted to ask you a question, which is the multicultural segment of Bacardi is a newer branch of the company. And what was the catalyst in realizing that we needed to start advocating for the multicultural community?
Thank you for that question, first of all. I think I thought about this when, we were kind of working through what we wanted people to know about, this culture code in the continuum of, and I kind of started doing my research because I've only been at Bacardi for 1.5 years, but, and kind of backtracking when the department started, which approximately 8 years ago, was right around the time that our current regional president, Pete Carr, took over the company, took over Bacardi North America. And I had worked with him previously on, other brands, at a different time in my life, but I was brought into working with him because I was doing multicultural work. And so he has just been very consistent in his thought process and belief that multicultural consumers are a demographic that are critical to the business and critical to the health of the business. Not only that, but also the community and the outcomes as a result of us being equitable partners in hospitality and, working with Black and Brown owned and LGBTQ plus, bars, restaurants, hotels, et cetera. There are people outcomes there as well. We're able to provide equitable resources. And so, I think he's the catalyst, from my point of view. When I saw the department become a formal department with, a formal budget, actual, goals, and really being embedded across the business, all functions. Literally, I work with every brand team, every function, was when he took over leadership. And I can really appreciate that he believes in multicultural as a discipline that's a mandatory, business mandatory, not business optional. And so I think that's, to me, that's what the catalyst has been. Really, it's been him being a vocal and supportive leader of this type of work.
Wonderful.
Cool. And today, I mean, that's great. That I never knew that, actually, that everything kind of started with Pete Carr, like actually taking this into, a different level of being inclusive. And I mean, working with the company, I just think that it's been an amazing experience, like really seeing that, like everybody being involved and really like getting behind it. It's been empowering. And I also wanted to ask you, today, consumers are more socially aware than they've ever been, especially within the Black community. What is Bacardi doing to implement the brand with authenticity, with the community in mind?
Well, the people that we have that are focused in multicultural are of the community. So there is no barrier of understanding. There is no, I mean, when I get off this phone, this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, I'm gonna be in my community. I know Miss Linda from when I was living in New Orleans because I'm in the community. Sean, you, Tara, this is like your 365 days out of the year, you're gonna be doing it anyway, right? So when we hire, especially for positions that we know we want to, impact people's hearts and minds, and we really want to change their hearts and minds to understand our brands as, having an authentic place in their culture set. It's really important, the voices and the people that we hire to do that. So we do hire from a place of, well, what do you know about the community? What's your lifestyle like? Is it synonymous with this consumer that we want to reach? So there's a lot of intentionality there. We use a lot of data and insights to understand, what's going to motivate people to make sure that we're authentic. I know, we've all recently seen an example of, kind of some appropriations that happen when you are, when your heart's not in the right place and when you don't have the right people in the room to make decisions, and you don't have different diverse thoughts and representation going into the decisions that are made for these brands. And Bacardi has done an incredible job of making sure that, we're embedded, we're in these conversations. I sit across, again, all the brand teams, and they really do have, the consumer at the heart. We want to make sure we're doing the right things, and we want to make sure it's coming from the right place, and that we get positive feedback, positive outcomes. So, I think a big part of it is just the way in which we hire, and you're a great representation of that, of that intentionality that goes into the way that we hire.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. I mean, even when, we all get together in a space and everybody's mindset is the same, it's like, okay, like everybody was well thought out, and how this is all like molding as, as one thing. So you can definitely tell how genuine everybody truly wants to be a part of it. So
100%.
Much appreciated on that part. So I wanted to take it over to Sean, because you're in the same space, but you have like such a unique background on it. And I have to say, like, being in DC, like, without you, I don't know what would have happened during that pandemic, because I mean, people were literally not knowing, what to do. And I remember just calling you sometimes, like, just needing some advice on how to move forward, how to pivot, and how to do, how to make it make sense during like a time nobody really knew what was happening. And man, to be the inaugural.
I'm a better therapist now.
What you saying?
I'm a better therapist now after COVID.
I'm sure I wasn't the only one. So your line was probably going off every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But I definitely wanted to ask you, with your background in government work, Would you say that there is substantial access to programs and assistance for people of color when it comes to starting and or maintaining their bars and restaurants?
I think that I'll speak for DC first. I think that we are now being very intentional about, how we identify and make readily available resources for, Black owned businesses and folks, Black and brown folks who are interested in entrepreneurial opportunities in the hospitality industry. So I think the mayor here has done a good job, especially during COVID, of just kind of making sure that we not only just check a box in terms of passing out money, but being very intentional about the ways that we do it. So one way that we've sort of identified how to spend some of the COVID relief funds is to incentivize businesses to expand their businesses to parts of the city that, traditionally just don't have good food amenities. They call them Ward 7 and 8 east of the river. Traditionally, it's been a food desert. Mm. So we have carved out, a huge pot of money to incentivize, your restaurants and food retailers that you wouldn't necessarily see near Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, wherever you are, right? And so, with that intentional mind thinking of, the government here, we're now able to see, folks like Whole Foods and other, franchises that, we typically see in other parts of the city, having conversations about how they can expand to, into parts of the city where it's predominantly Black and brown folks. So I think, as I mentioned before, the mayor's done a good job here in the city. It hasn't always been like that across the board, right? And I think, unfortunately, but fortunately, George Floyd and everything else that's happened over the past 2.5 years has sort of forced companies to start having these conversations and force government, quite frankly, to start having some of these conversations as well. And in terms of being intentional on how we direct funds to the Black community. And I think hospitality has always been a space where, somebody tells you they own a restaurant or, they're selling things to the public, you automatically think that they got money, right? And no one, unless you're in this space of retail and you are, like Tara, you've been, I've seen you, you've served me a couple drinks. I know you've handled the VIP stuff for venues. You've done A to Z. And so you understand and you have a respect for the grind and the hustle that it takes to really operate a business. But unless you're in that space, you really don't know. And like Tammy said, you really need to be intentional about making sure that you have, Miss Linda at the table when you're talking about carving out these grant opportunities, because you really need to be intentional. You really need to know that this funding will have an impact on Black businesses. And I think we've done a good job of that here in DC. I hope I answered.
Yeah, and I mean,
Very well.
to your point earlier, I lived in Southeast for a little bit there, and it was definitely a food desert there. And it's just like, it doesn't have to be a gentrified space to have quality care of life. It's like those two things aren't different. If they shouldn't be synonymous with each other. It's like, no matter if it's a gentrified area of location or if it's also an area where it's predominantly Black and brown and underserved, it's like that should be more of a space for you to want to have these quality pieces of like organic food, you know what I'm saying? Like just different things that like, should it be accessed at any point and anywhere? Because it's like, you know, you have it across another bridge, you know, why is it that this bridge in particular isn't getting it? It's not that it's not available. It just is in a place where there's not a Pete Carr or a Mayor Bowser, or to like have those conversations. It takes those people and all of us within the community to like make sure that those type of things, you know, are put into effect. And it's really great to hear that, you know, we're all kind of starting to really work towards that being the case. And, you know, that's kind of part of the conversation now is, I mean, and this is like a conversation that should be an ongoing conversation too, because it's such an array of pieces that fit into being inclusive and pushing this narrative forward. To everybody needs to be aware of these challenges and what's going on, because a lot of people don't know in Southeast you have to drive miles to get to somewhere to actually go to a grocery store, a quality one anyway.
Right. And to your point, you know, we all have a responsibility of ensuring that, you know, our government and, you know, these stakeholders in our communities are, you know, are aware of these issues and challenges and try to do everything that we can to address them. Government doesn't know everything, although sometimes folks in government try to make it seem like they know everything, but it's really the conversations outside of, you know, City Hall, where, you know, government gets these ideas about how to positively impact the communities, you know, that we live in. And, you know, COVID was, you know, everyone likes to use the pivot word. It was really a time where everyone in government had to pivot and trying to figure out how to get businesses to the other side of this thing. And one thing that I'm very proud that we were able to do was create this pot of money called the Bridge Fund. Is meant to get you from one side to the other. Get it? No. But
we get it.
but we wanted to be intentional about giving folks money that would hold them until we were able to open back doors, because we know that, you know, indoor capacities were down, folks just weren't coming outside, numbers were high, et cetera, places were shut down. Some of our largest live performance venues, down to your legacy business like a Ben's Chili Bowl here, they just weren't seeing you know, the traffic that they would normally see. And, you know, at the end of the day, COVID impacted, you know, the bottom line of every business around the globe. And so, you know, that Bridge Fund was very instrumental in saving a lot, not only our you know, new businesses here, but like it was a lifeline for some of our legacy businesses, especially the Black ones. So I think we just need to continue. I know I'm using this word a lot, but we just need to continue to be very intentional about the ways that we support the Black community. And I'm just talking about hospitality right now, but, you know, we all need, I mean, the Black community in general in every city continues to be, you know, at the bottom of the totem pole. And that until that changes, we just can't say that, you know, the city is thriving and exciting all the time, because we have folks that can't go down the street, like Tara said, to a Safeway or to a grocery store. They got to actually figure out how to get there. That's a task for some people in DC, and I'm sure in other cities as well. So, you know, we still got work to do.
Definitely. And I mean, to the point of, you know, these like the programs like the Bridge Fund and different, you know, programs that do assist with helping the business and bridging that gap of like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to actually like have a striving business or not. Like, what would you advise owners of these businesses like to advocate for themselves and to leverage like the opportunities available for these programs?
Well, you know, you got to do the research, because these grants don't just pop up out of nowhere, and funding just doesn't get, you know, dispersed to someone by happenstance or because, you know, they're someone's favorite person. I think that, you know, having that seat at the table, doing the research, you know, digging deep to find out what opportunities and you know, capital investments that are readily available for businesses to take advantage of is you know, very imperative of owners, operators to, you know, they just have to stay on point. And I know that's one thing, just kind of based on my experience, that Black business owners have kind of struggled with. So, you know, just kind of transitioning out of government and with that understanding, and still being able to help businesses, you know, as a consultant to leverage these opportunities that exist that they may not know of has really turned into one of my passions, to ensure that, you know, we're holding government accountable of making sure that money's being spread out across the city. So I think, you know, to answer your question more directly, I think owners just have to get really aggressive and proactive about identifying and locating these funds. I mean, I know, you know, in a handful of cities, just you know, from experience working with them, that, you know, there are grant programs available. And I know that as a result of COVID, city and states got tons of money, right? And some of them haven't even spent all of the money that they got during COVID yet. But they don't, and it's not because they don't have things to spend them on, they just don't know how to roll out the programs. They don't know what the needs of the business communities are. So, you know, if you got a local council member, alderman, mayor, etc., these are thoughts and ideas that you need to be pushing to them to ensure that they are trying to, as they have these discussions about whether it's infrastructure money or you know, funding for business opportunities, I think these are the ideas that they need to hear about from people on the ground.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, thank you for that. And Miss Linda, I want to go ahead and take it to you. So I wanted to ask you, there in New Orleans, like, how has the community in New Orleans worked together during the shutdown and after to help Black-owned businesses in the food and beverage space maintain?
Well, what happened was the mayor's office had opened Chef Bigard with Revolution, and a lot of the ones in the hospitality, we was very grateful for that program, the food program assistant program that they opened up for us, because we were at a standstill. Because once this COVID hit, we didn't know what we was gonna do, because we are so used to doing festivals and doing catering and stuff like that. And we didn't know, but we was very appreciative with the mayor's office when they did with Chef Brigard and allowed us to, you know, become a family member with them to make something to pay a bill. That's what a lot of us was really, you know, I mean, you got to break it down and put it on the ground. We needed help to help pay the next month bill. And that's what was going on. But it's a lot of it is like Mr. Sean said, this program he was talking about, I've never heard of it. And I've been in the city for all my life. I never heard that program before about the grant, these grants. We never, a lot of us haven't heard of it, and that becomes because it's lack of education with this, with the um, programs. Um, no one knew about all of this. When he's talking, and I don't know, are you talking about DC or New Orleans? Which one you talking about? Sean?
It's DC, Miss Linda. I was talking about
Yeah,
DC.
because we don't know nothing about that. These programs, we don't know anything about that. The resources we need in the city of New Orleans, we need resources, grants, capital. We need all of these investments, and many cities include New Orleans. Business permit process are complicated right now with, with us, and costly. I have all my permits, but you have some that do not have all their permits. And they have some that get attacked, and they get attacked um, regularly. And all they want to do, a lot of us get together and we talk. All they want to do is ask the city to show them what directions and how to go about taking one step to second step, third step, fourth step, 5 steps in order for them to get them the permits instead of them doing things under the bridge illegally. That's the main thing. They, people just their livelihood. Our livelihood, and that's all we are asking is to show us how to go about doing this. And the way they talk to them is like, y'all should know, but they don't know. And all they want to do is to know. And that's what the city need to get with, with us, and they need to talk to us and show us how to go about doing this. And I know we got to go through the change of command and stuff. We got to go through the Department of Health, hospital, and all of that. Show us how to do that. I know how to do this because I have everything. But you have a lot of them don't know how to do that. They got to go through servicing, all of that, and that's the main problem in the city right now with the vendors and people trying to get they need capital, they need that grants, but we don't know where to go and get them grants. Just like you say, Sean, they got grants and they got plenty of money. Show it to me. Show it to me. Show me the money. I didn't say show me the money. We have a program, 2 programs that I would love to help, and that's the Dillard Richards program at Dillard University, and the little young lady, Shanadra Taylor, Cody Nola. They're helping a lot of chefs in the city, the hospitality. They're showing them, letting them use their kitchens and stuff like that. This is things that we need. We don't have that. We need that. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Noche have a program that they're helping. You understand? You have to pay over there too, but and you get grants over there. I did Noche myself. You understand? But we need this in the Black community. We need this. Black and brown. I'm gonna say that. Black and brown. We need this, and we don't have it. And we're just going around and around and around the circuit. Everybody's talking to each other, trying to figure out how to do this. Now, if Bacardi, I've been dealing with Bacardi, I say 15, 16, 17 years. I've been dealing with Bacardi. I am a family member of Bacardi Rum. I am a family member. Southern Glacier and Bacardi Rum. And I do see some things that they do, but we need to explain to them what we really need. What we really need in our community. You understand? And I believe if we sit at the table with them and talk with them, I really believe they'll listen, because they always listen. And I believe that they will put something, they would get together and implement something for the Black and brown community. It just like I say, a lack of education that a lot of people don't know. We don't know. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I didn't know at the time. I didn't. But, I worked hard, and I went asking. Other people ask, other people don't want to tell you. And that is not good. That is not good. And let me tell you something. Yeah, the city got money. State got money. But we need to know where to go at and who to talk to get that, to try to help. And the main thing right now in this hospitality thing with the Black community, it's permits. That's the main thing, permits. These people want permits while they can fulfill their dreams. They got a lot of them self-made chefs right now, and I'm very proud of them because I'm one. And yeah, they just need to get permits and not get kicked over and dragged down, because that's what's going on right now. And I'm, like I say, I'm not ashamed to say it, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it loud too, because I've seen a lot of stuff going on, and it's not good. We just need to educate a lot of people upon how to go about doing this and how to go about doing that, to make it a little easier for them. And let me tell you something, they don't mind going to a class. They got a lot of them who want to go to that class, but if you got that class for them, they're ready. They're ready for to do that. In order for them to get their proper permits, because like I tell them all the time when I talk to a lot of them, and I tell them, I say, you're not trying to kill nobody. And when I say that, you have to do your stuff properly. You have to cook your food properly. You ain't trying to kill nobody. Because see me, I like to go to sleep at night.
Miss Linda, and she's Tara, she's right. And she's passionate about it because she's been, this is something that she's been dealing with. Now, I know, Miss Linda, you've been doing this for, a long time. Now, just imagine those newer chefs out there who, who haven't been doing this for a while and have no idea who to call or how to navigate through some of these things. And Ms. Linda said it, they're trying to figure out how to pay the bills next month.
And that's what it is.
Next month.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. And that's all that is. It ain't no, and then what they done found out too, and like I say, I talked to a lot of them, what they done found out too is this. Their mama, their grandma, their uncle, their auntie, everybody done showed them how to cook. So now they want to show everybody else how to cook, So, and that's a good thing too, because back in the day, we didn't do all of this, but now everybody is cooking, and that's a good thing. And, New Orleans always have been a cooking town, and we can bring the New Orleans to another next level. We always have levels, but we can bring it to another one. And this is what a lot of young kids is doing nowadays. A lot of young kids.
Be careful. I'm gonna steal you from New Orleans. You might have to come up to DC.
Look, I look at some of these, I talk to a lot of them, and a lot of them want to come and cook with me and all of this and that, and I appreciate all of that. But my thing, when I'm talking to them, I want them to do it the right way, so they won't have no problems. So the next year you got your permit, all you got to do is go ahead on and sign up for the following year. You won't have no problem. That's all my thing is right now. It's to show them how to go about from A to B, C, D, E, F, G. That's what they need to do. They need that. And this is what the city You know, I know the city is busy, there's so much going on, but they should have some department in that city for them to show people, you got the money, show them how to get it.
And I would ask this because you brought up a really great point. Like Sean, what is there a general way or like a website for if people want to like look for grants in their cities or like assistance or to talk to somebody within government on different ways to make it more inclusive with the Black and brown communities on like the best approach to like use that money? Like what's like a general, like anybody in any city, like is there like a standard way to communicate?
That's a good question. And I think it's different in every city. Here we have a website called obviously dc.com, and because of it's because of COVID. It came out of COVID. We said, you know what, we want to make sure that we're able to put in one place where a business owner can go on, click funding opportunities, and look at all of the grant opportunities that are available now and the ones coming up in the future. So not only are you able to apply for, a grant now, you can say, all right, I need to go and get my, I need to go to DC Health. Ms. Linda can relate to this. I need to go to the health department to get my food handler's license renewed in order for me to apply for XYZ grant. So I know I got 90 days before that grant opens. So there's a website that we have here, and I encourage every city to do it because, Black folks need it. Like we need all the opportunities available, and without all the digging. You see, traditionally, in order for you to find a grant, you got to go to. It wasn't the internet. You got to go downtown and find some paper and figure out how to fill this form out. Got to know the right person to go to. No, the grant process needs to be open and honest for everybody to apply to. And in communities like Ms. Linda's, I think the agencies and the mayor's office, and I know everybody's kind of strapped tight in terms of, bandwidth and capacity on things. Everybody's been working late. You got to go to the people. You have to go in the community to make sure that people are aware of these opportunities. And if it's an issue with licensing and permitting, then, you have to provide these educational opportunities because that's the only way we're going to get better is if we know.
Yeah. That's right. And I just need to say one thing too. One thing that I do know, and, I watched the mayor, and when she getting ready to get money from, I guess, from the federal government or the state, she makes sure that she let everybody know, well, we're getting this such and such money for this, and we're getting the money for that. And, she'll say this, go apply for this and apply for that. She do that. That's one thing I have to say. She do, when they got the money getting ready to roll in, she'll tell them, come on, we getting this money. So, try to apply for it and stuff. But they can't apply for it because they don't have the proper credentials.
Mm-hmm. And one other thing, real quick, Tara, to piggyback on Miss Linda and Sean, is that Black-owned businesses are severely underbanked in the sense that we can't, traditionally, you're not going to be able to go into a bank at the same rate, same interest rate or as frequently as a white-owned business and get funding. So that's a whole other really large challenge that we have to surface and continue to bring up. In New Orleans, you have amazing Black-owned banks like Liberty Bank that exist, specifically to be that gap filler for Black-owned businesses that are getting turned away at other banks to be able to fund them. But I think it's like 1% of Black-owned businesses get business loans versus like, I don't know, some ridiculous number, 80% or something of white. And, you know, that gap is detrimental. It's detrimental.
And that's just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's money out here that banks got, and we're getting 1% of it. But it's the Bacardis, and it's the, you know, the Liberties, and it's the other organizations out there that are actually doing the work that really, honestly, it's very sad to say this, but if it wasn't for these organizations helping push businesses, it wouldn't even be 1%.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, even in the space that I'm in, it's like, you know, super thankful for Tammy, David, Colin, you know, because going to these Black-owned businesses like restaurants, bars, nobody goes in there. People don't go in there. They don't educate. They don't take the time that they do at some of these other bars and restaurants and esteemed establishments, you know, and it's like, why are you not treating, you know, some of these other businesses with the attention? And it's just eye-opening and just impactful, really, to go in there and just take the time to do a training. Like, you know, I've done service trainings, not even about the brands, because you can't push brands and you can't talk about spirits if you don't know the steps of service, right? And like, even having people be open to those conversations. And, you know, there's a lot of like people who are working in those environments who they want to learn, you know, they want the education, but a lot of the resources haven't been really that present in like allowing that space to happen. And, you know, it's been a privilege to like be in that space, to be a part of that eye-opening moment when somebody knows, you know, the different nuances of vodkas or like the different origins of a whiskey. It's pretty dope. But I did want to ask a couple general questions, just to, you know, get everybody's opinion on a few things. And I wanted to just kind of go around the table and ask the first initial question, which is, you know, whether systemic or social, what would you say the biggest hurdles for Black-owned businesses are? And I think we've kind of touched on some of them already. And it's been amazing to hear those things. And I hope that the people who are listening to this have taken a lot out of like what we've already talked about in terms of hurdles. But are there some that have stuck out other than the ones that we've mentioned so far?
I think definitely, I mean, just to double down on funding and capital being probably the largest hurdle, but I also think it's a hurdle and it's the opportunity for, you know, anyone listening to this panel, is I think we have to normalize supporting Black-owned businesses like we support any other business. I think a lot of times I hear from, you know, neighbors, friends, colleagues, et cetera, you know, oh, well, that place is not for me. You know, that y'all go support that business, and then we'll link up later. And it's just kind of, it's odd to even think that, you know, one, a lot of times we were forced to create our own spaces, our own schools, our own neighborhoods, et cetera, because you were literally pushed out of the general population. And then when you know, miraculously overcome all these odds to establish yourself in the community, establish a business, then, you know, there's certain people that are not Black that feel like, well, that place is not for me. I mean, I just think that's so unfortunate, you know, that perception exists. It's like the double-edged sword. It's like, you know, I have to kind of establish myself over here in this neighborhood, and then that makes you not want to come and, you know, support my business, when overwhelmingly, you know, you do need everyone to be in the hospitality industry. I mean, it's food and drink. It is a basic human need. So we're not talking about clothes and style. We're not talking about luxuries. We're talking about food. So I just think, I hope that conversations like these, people like the folks on the phone, companies like some of the ones that we've talked about really continue to bring people into these spaces and normalize Black-owned businesses as places for everybody, not just places for Black folks.
Right, right.
I also wanted to ask another question of, in 5 years, what would be a practical and approachable change that we can all work towards?
Well, to me, within 5 years, we need to try to treat our fellow entrepreneur as human beings, no matter what color, creed, or gender. We all have a purpose and our gifts in abundance. And we also need more access to food grown and raised by small farmers and fishermen. And we have to create a better food system that is equitable and affordable to all. We have to do that. It's just like the young lady was saying about supporting. Yes, we go and support everyone, but we don't support us. And we spend the most money. We spend the most money
We do.
on every and anything. And, I'm hoping within 5 years, something like, what we're talking about, that we can accomplish this, because we have to start by treating each other, with respect first. That's the first thing. We can't throw this under the rug because, it's about a respect thing with each other. And we need to learn how to respect each other. Black and brown, we need to do that because that's how we're going to be able to go over that hurdle. If we can do that, and I think that's where the training come in, huh? The training come in. Somebody got to get a training school with that, Yeah, but that's all it's about. And we can support each other and respect each other. Like I said before, I see a lot of young entrepreneurs and I'm so proud of them. And, they are so excited. And that's what makes me so excited because they excited, and, they, I tell them all the time nowadays. I say, when I talk to them, I say, there's no more millionaires, that there's billionaires. And that's what's going on now. It's no more millionaires, it's billionaires now. And I say, now, if you want to take it to that next level, you got to become very respectful. Like my mom always say, you got to respect yourself in order to respect anybody else.
That's right.
You got to respect yourself. That's what she always taught me. Respect you, and then you can respect everybody around. So yeah, within 5 years, we need to learn that first. Learn how to respect. And then, I could see, I just asked the good Lord to let me live because it's a lot of them that I want to see just do what I do. I did this on my own. And let me tell you something, I didn't do it just to be doing it. I did it because I had a livelihood. That was my livelihood. And I worked at Orleans Parish School Board for 25 years. And when Katrina hit, that was it. The school board did not call us back. So I had to figure it out. Just like the pandemic, I had to figure it out what to do. So I did go out. I did have a license, but I did go out and sold food on the street. That's what I had to do. And I was grateful for Tipitina's to allow me to come into their establishment to sell food, to feed the disadvantaged musicians. They gave me keys to everything, keys and codes. That's all I had at Tipitina, keys and codes. And I appreciate that. And, that's what happened. I had to, figure everything out, and I did. And I just kept moving. I didn't let it stop me, and that's how I became Miss Linda, the Yakami lady, because when they would see me at one stop and didn't see me at the next stop, the first thing they would say is, y'all seen that Yakami lady? And that's how I became her. But I'm very, very appreciative of you all young people. I'm very appreciative. And I wish y'all the very, very best, because you going, all of y'all going places, but who that is? Tara,
Mhm.
that's Tara, and baby girl here, Tammy. Tammy. Yeah, y'all going places with Bacardi, believe me, because they always stepping up. They always promoting. They do that.
Yes,
They
they
see
do.
and they see what you do. My son is Benjamin Gersh.
Mhm.
That's my
Oh,
yeah, that Jew boy. That's my son.
yeah.
That's my Jew. And yes, that is my child. And Sean, you doing a fantastic job. But let me ask you this here. Are you still in DC or are you in New Orleans?
I wish I was in New Orleans because I'd be looking for that Yakami lady right now.
But yeah, but let me tell you something. You keep on implementing all of the things that we are speaking now, because I feel as though that you done picked up on something, and I have picked up on something through you. I really have. And I'm going to be talking to some people about that, about trying to see about educating uh, our people, our Black and brown people, about getting the permits, instead of trying to giving them tickets, putting them in jail and all of that. We don't have time for all of that.
Mhm.
We don't.
Right.
We don't have time for that. But I like what y'all are doing in DC, and I might, I'm hoping that I could speak with Lisa. Lisa is over the culture, economical in the city of New Orleans, and maybe I can, because she's learning a lot of things now. She is really, really learning. So maybe, I can explain some things to her, and maybe they got money, they can open up a program.
Mhm.
That's right.
They
Let
can
me know
open
if you need me. I'm happy to have a conversation with Lisa, if that helps.
Yes.
But I think we
But
need.
and if you have a conversation with Lisa, run it to her.
All right.
Run it to her. Let her know this is what needs to be done. And I'm more than sure, because she will listen. She will listen to you, because she in the process, she's still learning too. She is learning, and yeah, run it to her. She's a good girl.
All right.
I call all of my babies, they're my babies, they're my children. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And I think that, man, it's so much that has been said in this conversation that me personally, and hopefully everybody who has is listening to this conversation can take in and apply, because the basic premise of this is just to help people learn and help people understand, which, Miss Linda, to your point, the respect,
education.
like everybody treat everybody with respect. And even those things, and just implementing respect, humility, and understanding is gonna help push not just Black people, but people forward to know that it's not about race, it's about, we are all people at the end of the day. That's and we all need to have access to the same opportunities, to the same food, food access, health access, and it goes so much further. But I mean, I just think this is great just to start this conversation and, Tammy, Sean, Miss Linda, I really want to thank you all for being here today.
Thank
And,
you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, because it is when you boil down to it, it's really about education. That's what it's about. It's educating everybody about who, what, where, and why.
exactly.
You got to do that.
And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I do want to follow up with each one of y'all because I think that there were so many gems from the conversation, and I just be blessed to have a great day. I'm like feeling so good to start the rest of the day, and with this as such a good conversation. But yeah.
And Sean, send me your info.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I got you.
You too, baby girls. I know y'all. I ain't got to get y'all. I know y'all. Y'all Bacardi. Y'all my family members.